About 10 years ago, a supermarket gave you a job. You didn't apply. You never signed anything. You were never paid. And for the last decade, you showed up, scanned the barcodes, bagged the groceries, and handled the money. This year, quietly, they started firing you. The self-checkout kiosk was sold to you as convenience. Skip the line, skip the small talk, get out faster. That was the pitch. It was never the point. The point was a number on a spreadsheet in a head office, and the number was labor. So here's how a store turned its customers into staff, what that actually cost, and why the machines are now being wheeled out the back door. The idea is older than you think. The first self-checkout machine showed up in a grocery store in Atlanta in the mid-80s. It was slow, it was enormous. Almost nobody used it because the technology to make it work barely existed yet. But the concept sat there for 25 years, waiting. And what finally set it loose wasn't better scanners, it was the cost of people. Because a cashier is not cheap. She costs a store somewhere around $30,000 a year. Wages, payroll tax, training, uniforms, breaks, sick days, the manager who schedules her, the second cashier who covers her shift. Now, put in 6 kiosks and 1 supervisor, 6 lanes, 1 salary. That's 5 wages that stop existing. Multiply it across a few thousand stores, and you get a number that makes a boardroom go very quiet. And here's the part that never appears on the spreadsheet. The labor didn't disappear. Somebody still has to lift the item, hunt for the barcode, angle it at the scanner, wait for the beep, and drop it in the bagging area. Somebody still has to know that loose spinach is item 4089 and that the machine will not find it on its own, that somebody is you. You just don't get a paycheck, a break room, or a name tag. You get to do the job, and then you get to pay for the groceries. So the savings were real. The problem showed up somewhere else. Look at the machine again, and notice what it's actually doing. Underneath that little metal shelf where you set your bags, there is a scale, a precise one. Every time you scan an item, the kiosk looks up what that item is supposed to weigh, and then checks whether that exact weight just landed on the shelf. Scan a can of beans. Put down a steak. The numbers don't match. Red light. That sentence you've heard 1,000 times, the one about an unexpected item in the bagging area, was never a glitch. It's a security system talking to you, which tells you what the store actually thought of its new employee. It hired you, gave you no training, no pay, and no supervisor. And then it weighed everything you touched. It still wasn't enough. Retail has a word for merchandise that walks out the door without being paid for. They call it shrink. At a staffed register, shrink is tiny. A trained cashier scans about 1,000 items an hour and misses almost none of them. At a self-checkout, shrink explodes. Some of that is theft, the steak that somehow never makes it past the scanner. Most of it isn't. Most of it is a tired person at 9 at night with a full cart, a flashing red light, and a screen arguing with them about a bag of onions. Either way, the store eats it. Here's the part that flipped the whole thing. The store didn't lose because the machines were bad. The machines worked. The scale worked. The scanner worked. The store lost because of what the machines removed. The person watching. A cashier isn't standing there to scan. Scanning is the cheap part. A cashier is standing there to see. She sees the bottom of the cart. She sees the hand that hovers a second too long. She sees the item that goes into the bag without a beep, and mostly she sees nothing at all because people behave differently when someone is looking at them. Take her away, and you don't just delete a wage. You take the eyes off the exit, and the savings started eating themselves. Because the machines needed help constantly. Age-restricted items, produce, coupons, anything heavy, anything that didn't scan the first time. One supervisor for 6 lanes became one supervisor sprinting between 6 lanes, and every intervention is a slow transaction with a staff member standing next to it, which is a cashier, just a worse one, doing a harder job for more customers at once. Every retailer that ran the numbers found the same thing. The wages they saved were smaller than the merchandise they stopped seeing leave, which brings us to right now. This year, Walmart started pulling kiosks out and putting cashiers back, beginning with one store in Philadelphia as a pilot inside a much larger remodel program. Dollar General had already stripped them out of thousands of locations. Costco and Sam's Club went a third way, where a staff member scans your entire cart while you stand there and watch a human do the job again. And notice what nobody says out loud. Not one of these announcements leads with theft. They all lead with customer experience. Now, the most honest version of this story is the one Amazon ran. Amazon built stores with no checkout at all. Walk in, take what you want, walk out. Cameras and sensors would figure out the rest. No cashier, no kiosk, no line. The end of the register, except it wasn't cameras figuring it out. A large share of those shopping trips were being reviewed by actual people, watching actual footage, in an office thousands of miles away, labeling what you picked up. The cashier was never removed. She was moved somewhere cheaper, where you couldn't see her. That's the whole trick. And once you see it, you can't stop seeing it. You check yourself in at the airport now. You bag your own groceries. You assemble your own furniture. You are asked to tip on a screen you rotated toward yourself. Every one of those is a job that used to belong to someone on a payroll, handed to you and rebranded as convenience. Sometimes it works, often it doesn't. And when it doesn't, the job doesn't get paid for. It just gets quietly handed back. So yours is ending. No notice, no severance, no exit interview. Sometime in the next year, you'll walk into a store and the machines will be roped off or gone, and a person will be standing there again, and it will feel like service coming back. It isn't. It's a spreadsheet that stopped adding up. You were never a customer at that lane. You were staff, and you were the cheapest they ever had.